Yo, what's going on? I appreciate everybody for tuning in. We're going to be in and out of this live real quick because I'm tired and I actually still got some work to do. As always, I'm Marcus here. We talk attorney reactions to current events, trending news. We got a few stories that we are going to cover today. And after the last live stream, I was like, you know what? I'm going to make sure I always throw a positive story into the reaction video soup just to make sure we could keep a little bit of balance, because that last video was it got a brother feeling kind of low at all the crazy nonsense that we were covering. So hey, as always, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Shout out to you, Maddie, for dropping the first comment of the day. I'm very appreciative. Now let's go ahead take a look at a few stories we got. We're going to end off just talking about this statue, but before we, I don't know, because I got mixed reactions on it. Now I think I'm changing my mind. But before we dive into that, we're going to take a look at three stories. The last story is actually probably interesting because this is close to home, because it's in my city, and it's a cautionary tale that people out here are crazy and you have to keep your head on the swivel. So we're going to talk about three stories. We're going to do wild story, good story, terrible story, but there's a lesson we could take from it. Then we're going to jump in and talk about this statue. Good, bad, crazy, wild, indifferent, whatever. Don't give a damn. Your opinion going to fall anywhere on that spectrum. So let's go ahead and dive into this first story. And I think this is interesting because this is some shit that I could see myself doing potentially in the right circumstances. Let's go ahead and check it out.
An East Side restaurant say they feel extorted after they say their plumber returned to reclog their pipes over a disputed bill.
that sounds hilarious. The plumber returned to reclog their pipes after a disputed bill. I'll be honest, like I can see this. I can see a lot of people doing this. I haven't even watched this story at all. I saw the headline. Somebody sent it to me, and I thought, if I was a plumber and I performed some work and you didn't pay me all my money, I could potentially see myself going back to reclog your pipes. So I thought that sounded hilarious.
After they say their plumber returned to reclog their pipes over a disputed bill. Our Liz DeSantis joins us after hearing both sides of the story. Liz?
Let's see what's going on.
Well, Rob, when the plumber didn't receive payment right away after a finished job, they returned the next day to undo their repairs. Now, it's a matter that might normally be settled in court, but this plumber decided to take matters into their own hands.
Again, this is not the right thing to do, but I understand it completely. If he got screwed, we don't know yet, but if he got screwed on his money, I can see why he would come back.
What started as a normal day at the restaurant has Thai bistro and bar owners saying they feel extorted.
I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. It's like, okay, is this really happening?
Operations manager Jesse Sanders says when their grease trap started to overflow, they called Heveron Plumbing Company to fix the block. 3 days later, when it happens again, they called the plumber back, this time saying it was an emergency.
So this was the first invoice, basically explaining all the work he did. And then this is the second one, basically doing the same exact work on all the lines, and he charged us double.
The bill was $235. The second was $390, and the owners refused to pay the second one.
It's not about the money, it's just about him just standing behind his work.
Restaurant surveillance cameras show the plumber returning the next morning.
And the following day, we received a text message saying that he's on our property. He put a balloon into our grease trap, and he's not going to remove it until we paid.
Oh, that story is hilarious. Oh man, this dude is extremely petty. He put a balloon into the grease trap. That's hilarious.
And he's on our property. He put a balloon into our grease trap, and he's not going to remove it until we paid.
Text exchange between the parties showed the owners were given about an hour to pay their bill before the plumber left for the weekend.
If we were to leave the balloon in there, it would overflow the restaurant with water, dirty water that's going down the grease trap. And basically, we would have to shut down.
Plumber Joel Heverin tells 14 News over the phone his business offers no warranty for drain cleaning. He says the restaurant also had a history of being slow to make payments.
I don't have a magic wand I can wave and remove all of the garbage and debris from the drain line. So what we can do is we can snake it. We can verify that it's open and working correctly, which is what we did.
Police officers came to the restaurant to mediate. They tell us these matters are normally settled in small claims court.
Frankly, it was not worth me pursuing it in court. It was not worth my time.
It's not worth your time, but you came back and put a balloon, put a balloon in that drain. This is actually hilarious.
Just wasn't worth it for me.
With officers on scene and the bill paid, Heverin Plumbing removed the blockage.
All right, you're good to go.
The restaurant says the bill they handed over ultimately was marked paid under protest.
Being a small business owner, we don't want that to happen to other customers and clients of his or other plumbers, because it's just ridiculous that it had to come down to this.
Now, Thai
That's
Bistro
hilarious.
and bar owners tell me they filed a complaint against Heverin Plumbing Company with the Better Business Bureau. The plumber tells me they have yet to officially respond to that complaint.
All right, now this is actually interesting. I don't know why that was hilarious. I don't know why I laughed so hard, but this is actually interesting because it is a legal concept that I forgot all about until I saw this story. Now, generally, if it were me, okay, who's right in this situation? Okay, I think the proper thing to do would have been just to pay the second bill. I think the nature of the work that was done was the type of work that could happen again due to no fault of the repairman. He clearly came and did the job because he showed up, he unclogged the drain. 2 days went by and it happened again. The fact that it was unclogged and they were able to work for 2 days, this is just me. I'm going to give deference to the plumber who actually did his job. He came, he showed up, he unclogged it. Things were fine for 48 hours. And during the next day, the third day after, something came up, it clogged up again. I'll be honest, I think he's within his right to charge if his services don't come with the warranty. And you can't really that would be the equivalent of if I run over a nail and get it in my tire and my tire's flat and I go someplace and they pull the nail out and patch it up. Then 2 days later, I drive and run over another nail and get a hole in it. I can't go back to them expecting them to patch it up. Like, bro, we patched it up the first time. We did it right. Your car was fine for 2 days. You didn't need any air. You just live in a city where there's nails all over the damn place. So I could have just paid the bill. Now, with that being said, I don't think the plumber was right to come put a balloon in this shit. I think that was actually hilarious. He didn't have the time to go to small claims court for $300, but he had the time to come do a balloon payment. It was low-key holding him hostage. He put the balloon in there and then said, yo, if y'all don't come and pay me, I'm going for the weekend and I'm not showing up. So y'all just not going to be able to operate and lose business. So he did kind of hold him hostage. I think he was in the wrong with the balloon, but I think they should have paid for the second services that were rendered. That's my opinion. Now, there is such a thing as a mechanic's lien. It probably wouldn't apply in this position, and I'm just going off of memory from what I can recall in law school. But a mechanic's lien allows the performer of services to actually have a lien in the interest of the property that they repaired. But that would apply to something like a car. You take your car to the shop, you don't pay the money. They have the right to have a mechanic's lien on your vehicle and hold your car until you can pay the money. So I don't know if that's necessarily applicable here. I think the best thing they could have done would have been a discussion, some negotiation, maybe split the difference and pay $300 instead of $375 or $395 or whatever it was. But hey, I'm glad it worked out at the end of the day. The restaurateurs, the restaurant owners can still go to court to potentially recoup their money because they wrote paid in dispute on the bill. And writing that on the bill does have some legal significance. For example, if if I owed you money, I owed you $500, and I paid you $300, but I put on the check, paid in satisfaction of debt owed. Because I wrote that note on the check, now I don't owe you the extra $200. I owed you five, I gave you three, I wrote paid in satisfaction of the debt owed. Just because I wrote that language on there, courts would interpret that document as that $300 was paid as satisfaction for the entire amount owed. So things you write on bills to issue payment can have some legal significance. I thought that was an interesting story. Dude, petty as hell. I probably would do something. Well, I'm not gonna say I would do something like that, but I can understand why someone would do something like that. But I think each side was right and wrong. Okay, I think that the plumber was right to bill for the second services because the first services weren't covered under warranty, and he clearly did the job because things worked fine for 2 days. They could have threw some shit in there that clogged it up all over again. So I think the plumber was right to bill for the services. I think that the owners of the restaurants were in the wrong. I think they should have either negotiated the price down or just paid for the services that were rendered. How long do you expect things to work before it get clogged up again and it should be covered? If he came unclogged it and a week would have went by and it got clogged up again, would you expect to have him come out and do it for free? No, it don't make any sense. So I think both sides were a little stupid. I can see how the pettiness came into play because hey, you want your ends. Like, hey, putting the balloon in there is actually crazy work. I would have actually rather paid somebody else to come take the balloon out than to pay this guy. But that was an interesting story. Don't nobody do that approach. If someone owes you money, go about it the legal way through securing the mechanics lien or small claims court. Don't go back out there and re-sabotage the shit that they paid you to come out and fix in the first place. It's not going to look good in the court. And honestly, if that restaurant would have continued to operate, because he wasn't going to call and tell him, if that restaurant would have continued to operate it and the inside of the restaurant would have flooded, that plumber would have been on the hook for the damages associated from him coming out, sticking that damn balloon in there. But I thought that was a crazy story. Very funny. Don't do any of that stuff. Try to negotiate or pay the bill up in full, or go to small claims court, but don't come back out and sabotage the customer. That's always a bad look. Now let's go ahead and jump into this next story. This next story is actually a good story because it's about someone who significantly changed their financial situation from Detroit, Michigan, from homeless to millionaire. I love these stories. I used to do them all the time. Let's check it out. This is a real good story.
A man from Detroit went from being homeless, sleeping in his car outside fancy houses in Detroit, to buying one of those houses and becoming a self-made millionaire.
And guess what? He's not stopping there. Mario Kelly was able to accomplish all of this and is still motivated for more. And Dave joins us now. How did he do this?
Yeah, it's really about the power of belief and taking opportunities. Mario Kelly embodies the saying, if you believe it, you can be it. It's something he's done again and again. And I had a chance to.
All right, there's some truth to that. I don't want to get all holistic on you, but hey, you can will things into existence. And now, you don't have to do shit. Okay, you need to have a little bit of faith. You need to have a lot of faith and a lot of work. But you can will things into existence. I agree with that. You just can't will things into existence without doing any efforts to get there.
To speak with him as he starts the newest chapter of his life, tapping into the business of AI.
How may I help you today?
Hey, Emily, I'm with Dave Spencer from Fox 2 News.
The voice on the other end of this phone call is Emily. And as real as it sounds, it is in fact artificial intelligence, the latest creation of the very real Mario Kelly.
I have something called Believe in AI. It's an academy where it's also an AI assistant with emotional intelligence. You can have a 10 to 40-minute conversation. It answers the phone for you. It makes appointments.
Mario is a self-described man of action, pouncing on every opportunity that comes his way.
Shout out to him to go from homeless, living in his car. This is actually an amazing story.
a trait that started back in childhood.
I wanted the Nintendo games, or I wanted to go to the arcade on Woodward. My mother said you had to get a job in order if you wanted to go to the arcade.
After working at a Ford plant and then Jacobson's, Mario eventually found himself unemployed.
At the same time, I was still living in my van. I was homeless, had gotten divorced. I'm from the east side, but I had manifested that I wanted to live in an area called Rosedale Park. So I would go over there every night, find a different house to sit in front of.
He says through manifestation and a belief in himself, inspiration took hold.
I put the word Believe 313 on a rubber band, and I would go downtown and just sell rubber bands.
And one day, opportunity came knocking at one door in particular.
Police were putting an abatement sticker on a house one day, and I rolled past it, and I said, what's going on? They said, we've been giving him tickets for 2 years.
He contacted the owner of that very home and offered $6,500.
He took that money, and then I just worked on the house room by room.
Other doors started to open, and Mario didn't hesitate to walk through. For instance, while touring a Shinola factory.
We walked into a room, it was filthy, it was dirty. And they were like, oh, I'm sorry, our cleaning company is terrible. I said, I have a cleaning company.
He didn't exactly have a cleaning company yet, but he did have $27 worth of cleaning supplies.
They told me, give us a proposal. You know, I went home and tried to figure out how much it would cost to do a building of this size.
He got the job, and 313 Cleaning was born.
Hey, shout out to him for taking advantage of all of his opportunities. The interesting part of this story was a lot of interesting parts, but him going down and looking at and sitting in front of the houses that he wanted to one day live in, that's actually a real thing. Like when people write like vision boards and they put things they want to accomplish up, it's actually a real thing because it keeps you aware of what the goal is, and it forces you to continue to do small steps to actually achieve that goal. So shout out to him for he took his manifestation 100% for real. He wasn't BSing, and not only did he have faith that it could be done, you see what he's doing right there? Work. That's probably the most important part. The faith is good too. I'm not saying you shouldn't have faith, but you got to get out there and get off your ass and do something.
Then came the next opportunity.
In 2021, no one wanted to go to work.
Right.
So I said, let me start Believe 313 staffing.
Word spread of his success, which again led to new chances.
I started hiring a lot of returning citizens. And they would tell me, man, we talk about your story to people in jail all the time. So I said, I need to share my story.
So he did.
I'm the cleaning guy. Sure. You know, my whole journey started with cleaning. So
let's do that.
Yeah, let's show them where it started at, where the $27 started at.
That may have been where it started, but Mario Kelly has no idea where it will end. And he says that's a good place to be.
Let me know if there's anything else I can assist you with.
Thank you so much, Emily.
Shout out to him.
Well, while Mario Kelly does have a success story for sure, the story's not unique. He says anyone can copy the formula simply by believing in themselves and acting when opportunity presents itself. It's all.
Hey, shout out to him. That's actually an outstanding story. Great story. The only thing I would add to that is you have to put yourself in a position to take advantage of an opportunity. Opportunities are going to present themselves all the time, but if you don't have the means to take advantage of the opportunity, it's just going to pass you by. When he had the $27 to get the cleaning equipment, had he screwed off his $27, no cleaning equipment, no contract. When he offered the gentleman $6,500 to purchase his home that was in disrepair, had he not had something to be able to take advantage of that opportunity. So just because there's an opportunity, you have to put yourself in a position where you have the resources to take advantage of that opportunity. Oh man, this house is dirt cheap and they only want $6,000. Well, if you ain't got $6,000, somebody gonna come in and swoop it. So the big takeaway from that is, hey, set goals, work hard to get them, and put yourself in a position to take advantage of opportunities when they arise. Most times when I know I've been in this position before, an opportunity come up and you're like, oh man, that's a really good deal. If I had it, I would jump on it, bro, but I ain't even got it. Put yourself in a position so you can have a little bit of cushion to take advantage of an opportunity. But that's a dope story. It reminded me of the story I did on Earl Crawley in Baltimore, Maryland. He had a cognitive disability. He worked as a parking lot attendant for like 30 years. He never made more than $10.50 an hour, and he retired with a paid off house and $500,000 in his investment account. Never made more than $10.50 an hour. Those stories are motivational. Shout out to him. I actually might check out that book. That was a good story. All right, now this last story before we get to this statute that I want y'all feedback on is we're gonna come on home to the District of Columbia. We're gonna talk about something that happened. It's a terrible story, but there are lessons to be learned from it, and that's always facts. Eating ramen every night. Yeah, blood pressure high as hell. But sometimes you got to make, in the words of Dave Ramsey, beans and rice, rice and beans. A lot of people aren't really, and shout out to you, Royce, I appreciate you turning in, but a lot of people aren't willing to be down bad for 2 or 3 years so they could be up. Most people aren't going to do that. Most people are going to be like, you know what? I want to just keep living my life that's in between. I don't have much, but I'm not completely broke. I'm going to keep using credit cards and I'm going to kind of save, but not really. But if most people took a sacrifice to say, you know what? I'm going to just sacrifice. I ain't going to do no trips. I'm not going to make no big purchases. Most people for 24 to 36 months, if they can hustle like that, budget real tight, not spend anything excess, have small celebrations for milestones you make, most people could have a really amazing life that they probably couldn't even imagine on their salary. But most people aren't willing to sacrifice and do without for 2 years, 3 years. All their friends out doing stuff and they like, nah, I'm good. I'm just trying to get my money right. Everybody who always called me cheap when I was going through my debt-free journey, everybody who said you being cheap, I'm in a better financial position than them. The people who have more money than me, and I told them, nah, I can't do anything. I'm trying to take care of this debt. They were like, oh, cool, that's smart. That makes sense. Oh, yeah, you're going to be up in 2 or 3 years. But everybody who was like, oh, man, you could afford it, don't be cheap. All them people, down bad. That's just how it is. The people who call you cheap, who are going to say stop being cheap with your money, those are the people who probably don't got it. But all the people who had it, and when I told them what I was doing, they was like, oh, you're doing the right thing. Once you ain't got no debt, the world is your oyster. So, but people aren't willing to make that sacrifice. Now let's pivot to DC. Terrible story, but there are some lessons in it. Again, I'm not telling this story to victim blame because it's definitely not the victim's fault, but there are some lessons we can take away to avoid ourselves being in a similar situation. So let's go ahead and jump in.
The murder and robbery of a man who was run down by a driver in a crosswalk. This after getting money out of a nearby ATM.
Tonight, the victim's family is speaking out only on Fox 5. Our Bob Barnard is live in Northeast. Bob, anybody who's seen the video is outraged. The family must be so angry and heartbroken. I mean, when you see this, it's just awful.
Yeah, they are, Shamari and Angie. The emotions are raw. And I got to tell you, they're hard to hear. We spoke to the family outside their home here in Northeast just a short time ago. Want to show you our first photo of Donnell Phillips. He was 55 years old. He was a father of 3, grandfather of 2, worked as an overnight concierge at an apartment complex on 14th Street Northwest. Was on his dinner break getting money for his rent when he was killed. His murder caught on camera. You see Donnell.
That's terrible. Family guy out working, trying to do the right thing.
Phillips walking down the sidewalk along U Street Northwest. It's 4:15 in the morning Wednesday. People in an SUV were following him, and as soon as Mr. Phillips got into the crosswalk at 12th Street, the car turned straight at him. He was struck and killed. Police say it appears the people in the car got out, stole his cash, and fled. Phillips had just withdrawn money from an ATM in the 1100 block of U Street Northwest. The suspects were in a stolen white Hyundai Santa Fe.
Let's rewind this back real quick. All right, so real quick, I want to rewind it back because I want to focus on this image right here. Now, there's a couple things. Again, this isn't victim blaming. These are just lessons to be able to identify when something is potentially about to go bad. Now, the first thing that I noticed
into the crosswalk at 12th Street, the car turned.
Okay, so he's clearly outside at what, 2 in the morning, I think, as they said at the time, 4 in the morning. I don't know. It was early as hell in the morning. Not a lot of cars on the street. This is just something I do instinctively. I don't know if I told y'all a story. I almost had to put a cap in some guys who's trying to play a joke. But if I'm out walking, I'm walking my dog, I'm walking. Anytime I hear a vehicle come that's behind me, I just instinctively turn around and watch that vehicle. So again, I don't expect everybody to do this. I'm a little bit shell shocked. You talk to somebody who's been in a war zone and all sorts of crazy stuff. So my PTSD probably got me up here when the average person is down here. But anytime I'm walking and I hear a vehicle, if it's coming from behind me, I immediately turn around and I watch that vehicle. I watch that vehicle from the time it's coming until the time that it's going by. So a situation like this, if I was in a crosswalk right now, I would actually already have eyes on that vehicle because they clearly hit the brakes, but they didn't come to a stop. So if no vehicles are out, it's 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, you should be able to hear that car coming. Now, the reason that I do this is because, one, people are crazy. I'm going to tell y'all a story. One day I was walking my dog. It was early as hell in the morning, maybe 5 in the morning or something like that. And I was walking my dog and I heard a vehicle coming from behind me, right? And when this vehicle was coming from behind me, of course, I turned and looked back and I see the vehicle coming and I start walking back. Then I hear it. I was like, it's a stop sign. It don't sound like it's about to stop. I turn and look back. Next thing I know, I see the window roll down. And then I see a barrel come out of the car like this. And there's a guy leaning like that, right? Black barrel, looked like, I don't know, maybe a 22 rifle, bolt action, something like that. Looked like some type of rifle, not with a pistol grip. So he leaning out of the car. Now I immediately go into PTSD mode. I let the dog go. I duck down behind the car and I could hear something going thoo, thoo, thoo. Now it didn't sound loud like a gun, but I didn't know what it was. And of course, hey, y'all already know what time it is when I'm out in these streets. There's a lady sitting on the porch. Lady had to be about 60 years old. She's just sitting on the porch in the morning, minding her business. 5:30, almost 6, sun coming up. It was nice out. I get behind the car. I pull out my pistol. When I pull out my pistol, they can see me draw a pistol. And they was like, oh, bleep, he got a gun. They take off and fly down the street. Now, at that time, I'm like, I'm like, damn, that's wild. They was dumping on me. I'm kind of thinking all the way through. But when I turn and look back, I look on the ground. My dog was smart. He ran behind the car with me. When I turn and look on the ground, I see all these paint markers on the ground. So these idiots was driving around trying to shoot people with a paintball gun. They was about to die on some real shit. Like they was about to catch a hot one. Even the old lady was like, they out there about to die on some dumb shit. 100% true. But, normally paintball guns, they got an orange tip on it. But what some dummies do is they'll take that orange cap off and try to rob somebody with it to make them think it was a gun. But that's a reason why, that's one of the reasons, but that's an example why anytime there's a vehicle behind me, I always turn around and watch what that vehicle's doing. If I'm in a crosswalk and I see a vehicle coming up behind me, I jog across the crosswalk because I want to get on a sidewalk. If you jump over the sidewalk to hit me, I got a better chance of getting out the way because that sidewalk curb going to fuck your car up. Still, again, I'm not Superman. I'm not super fast, but it's an impediment between the vehicle and me. Again, not saying victim blaming. I'm just saying this is what I do when I'm walking around as a PTSD combat vet. Let's go ahead and finish watching this story.
Turned straight at him. He was struck and killed. Police say it appears the people in the car got out, stole his cash, and fled. Phillips had just withdrawn money from an ATM in the 1100 block of U Street Northwest. The suspects were in a stolen white Hyundai Santa Fe.
All right, real quick. The next thing is, again, be observant of your surroundings. I literally just told my son, he told me a story of something that happened in school when we were coming back the other day. And I said, you violated like at least two of the rules of stupid. Again, not calling this victim stupid. That's just what they're called. And he was like, I know. I said, don't go stupid places at stupid times, doing stupid things with stupid people. I don't know when he had to pay his rent again, and I'm not trying to victim blame. I just want to pull out the lessons for this because this is a tragedy. But I don't know when he had to pay his rent or his mortgage, but whatever it was could have waited until he got off from work. He did not need to go out at 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning. Generally, that's when the craziest shit happens. Like me, I'm not stopping at a gas station at 2 in the morning. If I know I'm gonna be out driving late, I'm getting gas before, because I don't want to be out somewhere at a crazy ass hour of the night, stuck in an open place looking like a target. So I think another thing that could have potentially helped to avoid this was wait until you get off work, you're off your shift. It would have been daytime. It probably would have been more people out. That's the best time to go to the ATM. Going to the ATM at 2 in the morning when nobody's out is kind of risk. Now, I know you're thinking like, well, it's actually more risky to go to the ATM if more people are out. Not really, because more people mean more witnesses. It means more eyes. It means more likelihood that someone will see if some goofy, crazy shit happens. So that's just another takeaway. Again, just an example. Again, I'm not victim blaming. I don't want nobody to watch this video and take it. We're just taking out the lessons on how to avoid this type of shit.
Was recovered not long afterward. Donnell Phillips' daughter and granddaughter are speaking out to us today.
It's heartbreaking.
Now, I did watch this part of this video in full. This shit was sad.
Yeah, because it's like, that was cruel. It was cruel. And then y'all, they just left him there. They just left him there, and then they robbed him. Like, you stole from a man that you already killed. You already like I don't understand. And the only thing, because of my dad, this is the only thing I can say. Because of my dad, I pray for the person that did it. And
shout out to her for having some forgiveness. Or having some forgiveness, or understanding that you got to pray for people who don't always have your best interests at heart.
Instead of wanting revenge, because y'all took a good man, y'all took a man that stood for a lot of things, that helped out a lot of people, and didn't want anything in return.
When I was sad, he had helped me, lift me up. Had got me in a good mood. Even though we had our bad times, our good times, we've been best friends since I was born.
Now, D.C. police say the same people robbed 2 other victims at gunpoint in the half hour before killing Mr. Phillips. The suspects are still out here.
Wait, when was this? 3 days ago. Interesting.
A reward is being offered for information that leads to their arrest, and you'll hear more from the family coming up at 5 o'clock, guys.
All right, terrible story. Rest in peace to that brother. Condolences to his family. I know sometimes things are easier if we take care of them, but you want to avoid stupid people, stupid places, at stupid times, doing stupid things. Again, I'm not calling this gentleman stupid. That's just how the rules of stupid are something that's taught when you're in use of force training for concealed carriers and things like that. That's just what it's called. But sometimes you have to think about, sometimes you have to do things when it's least convenient for you, but poses less of a risk for you. Like waiting 3-4 hours from 2 o'clock to 5:30, 6 a.m. when people may be out more, the sun is up. Could have been something that could have potentially avoided this happening. I hope and pray that they catch these people and do exactly and the law. I hope justice is served. I'll just leave it at that. But terrible story. Gotta have our head on the swivel when we're out here at wild times, late times, even if you're working. And I'm gonna just be honest, like I completely understand why people who work late jobs like that, if you have the ability to have a concealed carry weapon, you probably should have a concealed carry weapon. That's just it. If I work at 2 in the morning and I'm gonna be out 2, 4 in the morning, hell, if I'm out walking my dog at 6 p.m. So if you work crazy hours, things like that, it can be beneficial to have some type of tool on it. I don't care if it's some type of pepper spray, some type of tool on you could be beneficial. But even in this situation, I don't think the tool would have been the thing that'll help. I think picking a time that may have been inconvenient but have been less risky would have been a bigger help. I think being aware of your surroundings when it's just you on the road in one vehicle, you got to keep your head on the swivel because it's odd for somebody to be out driving that type of night. That's just me. It's odd for somebody to be out. So those things that seem kind of out of place, you got to be pay very detailed attention to. Yeah, yeah. I understand completely. All right, so let's go ahead. We're gonna talk about this real quick because I think this is an interesting story. I'm interested really to see. I'm interested to see how you all take this. So I want to go ahead pull this image up. Is a statue that was unveiled in Times Square. The artist's name is Thomas Pierre. Now, when I saw this, I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and just put the image of the statue up. If y'all haven't seen it, I'm gonna go and put the image of the statue up so you can see it on the screen. Let's see. All right. So this is the 12 to 14-foot statue that's currently sitting in Times Square. The artist's name is Thomas Price. Thomas Price. I believe he's from the United Kingdom, if I'm not mistaken. He's definitely not from the United States. He was commissioned to do artwork. This was the artwork he came up with. Now, when I saw this, it made me say, who the hell did this? I'm just saying, I was like, this is an interesting piece. Who did it? So when I looked up Mr. Price, I saw he was from across the pond. I saw that he had other works. He had a lot of other works where he's done statues of various people. A lot of his work is doing statues of minorities. And he had statues of minorities that were like cool. It would be like a little girl playing jump rope or a sister on her phone or a brother holding this book bag. All cool statues. But this statue that's in Times Square is getting a lot of let me see. I want to zoom in. This statue that's in Times Square is getting a lot of two sides. Okay, side one is this is a powerful woman. She's in a position of confidence with her hands on her hip. She looks serious. That's reaction number one. Reaction number two is, why does this statue have an attitude? I don't know if this is supposed to be a representation of the average Black woman in America. So I've seen both sides. So I don't know. Is this statue flattery or an insult? Now, I'm going to tell y'all, when I first saw it, y'all probably could tell my reaction from the thumbnail. But when I first saw it and I saw a video and the lady was like, this is your mother and your auntie. I was like, one, this isn't my mother or my auntie. That's just me. My mother or auntie don't look like that. And I was like, nah. At first I was thinking, you know what? This is actually, let me see this comment. Yeah. We are tired. That's what that's saying. That's a good way to look at it too. That's a that's a good way to look at it too. Like she just might have got her job ripped from the federal government or something, and she like, you know what? I didn't think about it. That was a very good perspective there. That was a very good perspective. My mother, auntie, are anorexic. Nah, man, my mom's. See, now I'm about to pull up a picture of my mom's. I don't know, man. I ain't gonna say my mom's anorexic, but my mom definitely is on the BMI scale. Let me see if I can find a picture of Mama Weeks. Let's see. Let me see. I'm seeing if I can find a quick picture of moms. I know I had some. I'm looking. See, now I'm gonna have to find a picture and put a picture of mom's up. But that's just not my mom's body type. Maybe a few aunties, yeah. But my mom's body type, nah, that's not my mom's body type. But at first I thought it was bad. I thought it was more insulting. When I saw it, I'm gonna just give y'all my honest truth. We honest over here. I saw it. I said it's giving attitude. I never knew how could a statue have an attitude. I was like, of all the representations of a black woman, you something much better could have been done than this. This was my initial reaction, especially when I looked at the other artwork that he did, the other statues. I was like, I'm not feeling that. Are there black women out there who look like that? Yes, there are. But for me, I was not feeling it. It was given, I'm just being honest. If this statue could get married, it was given single. I was like, this statue is definitely single. And then I thought about it. I said, you know what? Don't have an initial reaction like this. Let me do let me do some research. And then when I looked statistically, these are the numbers. Don't nobody beat me up. 82% of black women are either overweight or obese. In those two categories, 82%. Then I said, interested. Because once I heard the data points, I was like, well, if we're talking averages, again, don't look like my mother, but hey, that's just that was my reaction. Once I looked it up and heard the data points, I probably got a little less. I got a little less annoyed by the statue. At the end of the day, is a statue that's representative of a group of people. There are probably hundreds of thousands of people who have that body type and body structure. My thought was, this is just me. This is just me. And I don't think it's not an apples to apples comparison, but like if it was a statue in Times Square representing a black man, and it was some dude who weighed 150 pounds, 6 feet tall, with skinny jeans on and a Pooh Shiesty mask and his pants sagging, I would have been like, now this statue isn't that. But I didn't think that this was a fair representation when I initially saw it. But then I looked and I said, yo, well, what is the BMI averages? And I know BMI based on a lot of factors, hereditary, genetics, diet, resources, access to healthy foods versus people who don't have access. I know there's a lot of factors out there, but once I looked at the data points, I was like, I felt a little bit more comfortable with the statue. That was my takeaway of it. And I'm going to pull up some of his other art because it's in line with other art pieces that he has done as well. I know, right? I agree. I agree, and I'm gonna touch bases on that one a little bit later this week, maybe tomorrow, but it'll probably be Wednesday because I have more time. I agree. I did take her out to eat. Shout out to Urban Roast. I did take her out. She had a 3-course meal. So hey, I made sure mom's fit. Mom's was fed. Mom's ain't anorexic, but like that's just not. Hey, okay, hey, that's just not. We over here, we got a DNA double helix that's kind of got a high metabolism over on this side of the family. But that was kind of my takeaway. I don't know. When I saw the statue initially, I was like, it's giving hood, it's giving attitude, it's giving angry, disgruntled. But then when I looked at the data points, I looked at some of his other artwork, I felt a little bit more comfortable about it. I'm just saying, I looked at the data points, and the data points, don't get mad, 82% of black women are either overweight or obese. So I was like, well, if that is the case, this is probably an accurate representation. Now, I get that overweight and obese it's kind of goofy when you're talking about BMI, because it was a time when I was on the BMI scale and I was like, I'm overweight. What? Your boy was shredded. I was like, I'm overweight, but it was because I was a heavy guy. That's just kind of how it is. It represents a group. I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that. It represents a group of people, not collective of the group, but there is a portion of the group out there who's this. Now, let me pull up some of his other artwork, because his other artwork is very, very nice artwork. And when I saw his other artwork, like I said, I was like, oh, his artwork this is consistent with the other pieces of art that he's done. So let me go ahead and pull it up. All right, so this is the gentleman right here. Let's go and pull it up. Shout out to him. Man, that's crazy, man. MDJ, you are. They say it's Letitia James. Man, y'all, man, come on now. Now I'm definitely not buying that. Again, I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that. At first, I was like, "This is terrible." I would probably be more offended than flattered. But then, when I looked at it and thought about it and saw his previous artwork, I was like, you know what? I feel a little bit better about it. Let me see. Thomas Price, Google search. So this is the brother right here who made it, a British artist. Now let's take a look at some of his work. Brother holding the phone. That look. Brother holding the phone. Again, once I saw his artwork, I was like, okay, this isn't something outside of the norm for him. Let's see. Let's look at his art pieces. And then I was like, okay, this is just his artistic style. You can see his artistic style. This is kind of what he does. The sister on the phone here. See? Let me see if I could magnify that image. All right, so we got it. We can see the brother's artwork. Come on, computer. All right, we can see the brother's artwork on the screen. Let's see. I want to see if I could. But it is consistent with the type of art that he does. It's consistent with the type of artwork that he has. So yeah, I think no harm, no foul. I feel a little bit better about it. Again, I don't know if that's the piece that should be on display in Times Square. I thought of a bunch of other dope things that could have been done. I'll give you it's a no for me. Let's see. That's the other thing too. I was like, you got a British guy to kind of depict. I think that's a fair point as well, Royster. I agree. Let's see. Maybe he lacks that body type. Yeah, because I was sitting there like, if somebody said, "Yo, what is a concept for a statue that's a representation of a black woman?" It came to me immediately. I said, tell me this wouldn't be a dope statue. And if you're a mother or you've had a mother, everybody remember this. Everybody in life has probably been in this scenario. I said, if I had the ability and skill to do sculptures and statues, it would be an image of a mother down on one bended knee, and she has her thumb and she's rubbing her child's face. You all remember when you were young and you were going to school and your face was ashy and your mother would kneel down and be like, "Come here," and lick their thumb and rub your face. If that would have been a statue, that image right there of that sister down on her knee, rubbing her child's face with her thumb, I think I know for certain I can't speak for every culture, but I think every black person would have known exactly what was going on in that photo. I think that would have been like a dope image to capture because it tells a story. That mother's probably on her way to work, but before she go to work, she got down on bended knee to rub her ashy ass child face to make sure that baby is squared away for school so he can look his best. And I think that something along those lines would have been dope for me. That's just my take on it. Hey, nah, man. When you hey, we had food. We had food. We had the food that we had the government peanut butter that came in a can, the powdered eggs. Hey, times was hard growing up, all right? Like times was hard. We had to, hey, times was hard. We had to make do with what we had, and we were grateful for what we had. That's all I can say. It do kind of look like Queen Latifah on Set It Off. Yeah, I don't know. I just, I just think that it could have been a bunch of other statues that could have been used to place in Times Square, But I don't know. That's just me. I guess the big takeaway is again, and I'm not saying it like, hey. I'm not saying that I don't want nobody out there to think I'm body shaming because, hey, like me, I like tiger stripes and I don't want a woman whose stomach too flat. I'm like, nah, that's kind of creepy. No, nah, your stomach shouldn't be flatter than mine. So like, no, like, hey, I get it. So it's, hey, I understand all that, and I'm not saying that I don't want y'all to think I'm out here body shaming like people like Lizzo or something like that. Nah, all I'm saying is I think it could have been a better depiction for a statue to go at Times Square. Literally that exact same statue with a different body posture, I think would have been something better. It could have been that exact same statue, but I think all of the things combined, it just kind of initially threw it off for me, and it's a piece that I wouldn't want a miniature version of that statue in my household. That's just me. But yes, Royster, you're right. I did take moms out to eat, and she had a good meal. She had leftovers to take back home and everything the whole time. But I just wanted to get y'all opinion and take on it. I will tell y'all, real talk. I asked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I asked 5 women today. What are your thoughts on this statue? 5 women. 4 of them said, I'm not a fan. I'm not feeling it. One of them was like, I just really don't care. 4 out of 5 said, I'm not a fan of the statue. They could have done something better. Only one said, you know what? I don't really got the bandwidth to care about it one way or another. But I guess the big takeaway, what would be the lesson from that is one is art. And it has us talking about a piece of art. So that's good. 2, if we actually look at the averages, hey, the number one, this sounds crazy, but the number one killer of cause of death in the Black community is heart disease. Let's look at the lessons we learned from this when I looked at the data point. Like the obesity rate, heart disease rate for death is not police, is not gang violence. The number one killer in Black America is heart disease. So health is wealth more than anything. What's the point of being financially secure if you're not around to enjoy it, or you sickly, or you always got something going on? So I guess the best thing we could take away from this is, hey, it's art. It's a piece that got us engaged in conversation, but is something that really should say, hey, if this is how we're being perceived, is this a true representation? Then when you look at the data points for obesity and overweight, it's like, yo, we should make efforts to try to be healthier with how we do our everyday routine. Our lunch, hey, instead of picking up a pizza, let's go grab a salad. Let's just balance it out. I think that's the best way to be able to get it. They see it's bad. It's bad. Right. Stress. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Like I said, there's other factors that contribute to obesity. Stress, economics. Like, it's wild. When I used to live in Germany, like, healthy food was like way cheaper than like crap food. But in the United States, it's the opposite. Like, for $5, you could go get some Taco Bell, but for $5, you can't go somewhere and get a salad. It's literally the opposite overseas. Well, at least when I was overseas, last time I was overseas, it was the exact opposite. If you want to go get a salad, it's like $3. If you want to go get like a burger and fries, it was like $14, $15. It was literally the exact opposite of what it is here in the United States. Yeah, I just had a conversation today. I was getting my laptop fixed because it was wilding out at the office, and I was talking to a guy. It was around lunchtime, and I don't know, somebody had some smoked neck bones or something. It smelled good as hell on that floor. And I was like, damn, it smelled like smoked neck bones. And the brother was like, man, it smelled like greens or something. And we just started talking about cooking because y'all know I fancy myself as kind of a self-proclaimed chef. And what I was explaining to him was, and he agreed. I was like, yo, if you actually use like real seasoning, like spices like thyme, rosemary, sage, you actually could cook food and not use any salt at all and use like lemon juice, uh, thyme, soak your uh, produce or your protein in that. There's a lot of things you can do to avoid putting salt on it. It didn't hit me until I was in a hospital when I had my ruptured aneurysm, and I was there for like 7 to 8 days. And when I got out, because you're eating hospital food, everything was salty as hell. I was like, why the fuck is everything so salty? And at that point, I realized I was like, oh man, I was so used to eating all these salty ass foods that it was just the norm for me. Now that I'm tasting it after not eating it, it tasted ridiculous. So yeah, and you don't have to be on no strict diet. Like I'm not a strict diet guy. I just do things in like moderate. One day a week, I'm gonna eat all fruits and vegetables. Most days I try to eat either turkey or chicken. A couple days a week, I'm gonna eat whatever the hell I want, and I'm gonna go to the gym 3 to 4 times a week. I gotta try to balance it out. I used to could just not do anything and eat whatever the hell I want, but now that your boy old and I gotta wear a knee brace when I go play basketball, now I gotta be a little bit more health conscious. So let's see. Yes, I mean when you go to like a vending machine, in the vending machines, it would be stuff like apples, bananas. Like it was literally all healthy stuff. It wasn't M&Ms and Snicker bars and all the bullshit. That's actually good. You know what? This sounds crazy. I never knew this. Maybe y'all know this. I don't know. Maybe it's just a black thing. I don't know. When I was growing up, the only way that vegetables were cooked were you would boil the fuck out of them. You put those vegetables in a pot, collard greens, cabbage. Well, cabbage I think may have been sauteed, but people would boil the fuck out of vegetables. It literally wasn't until I got older and I went to a restaurant and I was like, yo, how'd you make these greens? And the guy was like, oh, we sauteed them. And I was like, what the fuck is that? I was so confused. I had been around. I was like, what is that? I looked it up and I was like, oh, if you saute the vegetables, you could actually keep some of the nutrients in them instead of boiling the fuck out of them. So you learn these things as you get older to be able to shift and adjust your diet so you can have good, healthy habits. But I think that's the takeaway from the statute. The takeaway from the statute is it's good to be talking about art, and it's more important to be talking about health. When sometimes it takes for us to see something that may be an accurate representation of us to realize that, yo, damn, this is an accurate representation. Maybe I need to do something different so that I can get a result. Because, I never, like, it's weird. The image that we have of ourselves isn't the image that everybody else has of us. It's like when you leave a answer of your message on your voicemail. Like I sound like real professional. I sound like hey, you have reached the voicemail of attorney. I'm not available to take your call at the moment, but if you leave this real professional message, and then when you go play it back and listen to it, it's like you have reached. It sounds all crazy. Sometimes how we think we're perceived isn't how we're actually perceived. So it does do us some justice when we see that picture or that image and say like, wait, oh man, I need to go work on something. So let's take it on the positive side. Make sure we feed our parents because we don't want our parents to be too skinny out here in the streets. That was for you, Royster. I love you. You the homie. Hey, I appreciate everybody for tuning in to this video. I just wanted to get y'all opinion on it. As always, y'all have a great evening. I'm truly appreciative, humbled, and grateful that y'all allow me this time to just interact with y'all and touch on these topics. Y'all take care, be blessed, be safe. Peace.